Tonight's the night. And it's gonna happen again. And again. Has to happen. Nice night. It's a great town. Quiet. Unassuming. Hungry for entertainment. As far as myself, I'm hungry for something else. I suppose I should be upset, even feel violated, but I'm not. No. In fact, I think this is a friendly message, kind of like, hey, wanna play? And yes, I wanna play. I really, really do. So Dexter Season 1 tells a story of a forensic analyst who moonlights as a serial killer with a strict code who is then toyed with by somebody who he may have a hidden past with. What's up everybody and welcome to the Dexter review series. I had so much fun last year going over my favorite show of all time, Breaking Bad, and I've had quite a few debates with a good friend that I wanted to do a Dexter review series this year. So this month as well as next month, you're gonna get all 8 seasons reviewed by me, as well as Mother Mayhem.
Surprise, motherfucker.
The other Dexter fanatic, probably the Dexter superfan, especially out of the both of us, that has a lot of interesting opinions, especially regarding Season 8. Cannot wait to get over there. But if you're done watching this one, if you've enjoyed this one, you want to check out her thoughts and where it differs and where it's similar to mine, check the video description down below. I'll have a link to her channel and her videos, and we'll go along this bloody ride together. So Dexter is actually a show that I was infatuated with for a very long time, even before I had discovered Breaking Bad. This was the first show that I watched that I just felt addicted to immediately. I remember I was working at a skating rink at the time. I was 19 years old, and I had heard rumblings about this show, Dexter, about it being a serial killer who only kills other serial killers. And I remember thinking, that's kind of a cool concept, but I was always much more of a movie guy than a TV guy. Very few TV shows by that point had really sucked me into a level of addiction and a level of love that I was like, oh my God, this is movie-like quality in the TV format. And I had went home one night and gave a call to CP's uncle to check out the first episode of Dexter just out of boredom. And by the end of the very first episode, by the end of the pilot, I was on Amazon ordering the Blu-ray of the first 3 seasons, which was all that was available at the time. Absolutely hooked on this show. The show has had some up and downs, and we will get there as we get through the different seasons, but season 1 is such a strong, just a charge out of the gate for this series that is based off of a novel series. I have not read the novels. I've heard that they are very different. They go in a lot of different directions. But as far as the TV show goes, despite having some very deep wounds along the way to the finish, still remains one of my favorite shows of all time. So as far as the positives of season 1 of Dexter, the main one is just the characters. The character of Dexter especially, just getting introduced to this concept about this guy who was born in blood, quite literally, due to this tragedy with his mother. Full spoilers, by the way, if you haven't seen this show, check it out. It's on Netflix right now. You can check out every single season, but I will be getting into all the nitty-gritty details. So he gets born in blood, this tragedy where he witnesses his mother's murder to a chainsaw, which just collapses him as a person. And now he is an adult. He's out in the world. He's working for Miami Metro Police Station as this blood spatter analyst doing forensics. And he solves crimes along the way that the cops that he works with every single day are either too slow to figure out before he gets to them, or if he has a really particular taste for this prey, he'll diverge them to another location or, you know, fudge evidence, get them off of the trail of him so that he can go take care of justice himself. And it's just a badass concept where you get this guy who's very likable, he's very charismatic, he's cool, but it's all a play because he's just this empty, emotionless shell of a person that doesn't feel anything, that doesn't even really comprehend regular human interactions. He kind of has to fake his entire life because the only thing that he ever thinks about is his emptiness and killing people. And then all the surrounding characters, like probably most notably throughout the series is his sister Deb, who is really the one person he's ever had like this genuine, right off the bat, emotional connection to. She was his foster sister. They kind of grew up together, going through all the trials and tribulations of life, the death of their father, going into the same field, going to the same exact police station. I mean, for brother and sister, they are very tight-knit, and she does not know anything about him. She does not know anything as far as his dark passenger, as far as his past with his mother, as far as this need that he has to kill. She thinks he's just this regular old dude who's a lab geek that she works with and is the closest person that she knows. And in season 1, you get a lot of good storyline with her because she's this very timid, nervous, yet foul-mouthed little vice cop that kind of has to work her way up to being a cop in homicide that's working in Miami Metro and working alongside her brother to catch murderers because that's her passion, which is a funny little dichotomy that her and her brother have. So she's very good in this season. She's a really entertaining character, mostly because of her foul mouth, which just gets more comedic as the seasons go on. She's a very creative person with, you know, curse words. Me and her would get along famously for that respect. And then all of the Miami Metro characters that go along with that as well are really good. Like this first season doesn't necessarily get into all of them as deep as some of the later seasons. You get LaGuerta, who is kind of the captain right there, and they give hints that she's manipulated her way there. Maybe doesn't necessarily deserve it, but she's very strong-willed. She's got a liking for Dexter. She's a really cool, interesting character. You get Batista, who's probably my favorite of all of the Miami Metro characters because he has just a heart of gold. He's got the morals. He's always there to do the right thing, even if it's going to suck, even if it's going to throw somebody else that he cares about, that he works with under the bus. The morals, the justice comes first, and I love that about his character. Vince Masuka, who is the absolute opposite of Dexter, who's kind of like his lab geek partner, who is so foul-mouthed and so crass and so overly sexual with all of his humor that he is absolutely hilarious. It's just a very good cast of characters that you really enjoy all of the different interactions that you get with them, whether they're looking at a murder, whether they're sitting in the office bickering back and forth about the night that they just had. You really enjoy the Miami Metro family.
You give me the fucking creeps, you know that, Dexter?
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that.
And then speaking of family, you get Dexter, his future family, where you have his girlfriend Rita and you have her 2 kids, Cody and Aster, which is kind of like his biggest attempt to stay grounded. It's his biggest attempt to find that humanity inside of himself. In season 1 especially, he has really no emotional connection to them. They're just kind of like this thing that he feels like he needs to do. I feel like I need to have a girlfriend. It makes me look normal, so I'm gonna go through the motions with this relationship that pretty much every single twist and turn that we go through with this woman, I really don't know how I got here. And then Aster and Cody, you know, there's a line in the show about how he always really likes kids and really gets along with kids because they remind him of who he was before he lost all of his humanity. So his interactions with them is always really sweet, really endearing. And the drama that unfolds with that, with her ex-husband, is really interesting. And it's a storyline that I personally can kind of can get into and can sympathize with, and a lot of us probably can, so that's a fun aspect of the story. Just all of the characters of this show, even in season 1, is just like this isolated bubble. Really good, strong, rich, emotional, and entertaining characters. Second biggest thing that I love specifically about season 1 is the origins of Dexter, the explanation and the flashbacks regarding this code of Harry, where he has his foster father, played by the great James Remar, Ajax from the Warriors. And he realizes who his son is at a very young age. He realizes that he has these murderous, tendencies, that he has this psychopath living inside of him. And rather than trying to, throw the kid into an asylum, he wants to save him. So he teaches him all from being a young child all the way up to adulthood, how to harness that, how to block that, how to shield everybody that he interacts with from his true self, and how to pretend to be human, and teaches him this code to where eventually you're gonna have to get blood on your hands. You're gonna have to feed this beast inside of you. So we're gonna harness that, and we're gonna point that fucking bullet at people that deserve it. We're going to point it at other serial killers or rapists or pedophiles or people that deserve to be on your table and to get that knife drug across their cheek. We're going to teach you that. And it's just a very cool concept. And their relationship, I didn't speak with them on characters because I want to talk more about them here. Their character relationship is amongst the strongest of the entire show. Because the way that they visualize Harry and the way that he talks to Dexter is kind of like that angel on his shoulder. That's Dexter's subconscious that's just taking the image of his foster father, but just the character dynamic between them to where he teaches him like, hey, that was a really good thing that you did. I'm very proud of you. Or what the fuck are you doing, Dexter? Don't be doing this. You're slipping. You're not understanding what you're doing. It's just a very cool devil and angel on the shoulder aesthetic that's just brought forth visually in a very different way that just immediately makes you connect more with both of those characters and just that father and son relationship that has saved Dexter quite literally. And not saved a whole lot of other people. And then as far as the main storyline that is the meat of season 1, which is this kind of cat and mouse game between Dexter and the ice truck killer. Very quickly at the end of episode 1, which was the moment that I immediately got on Amazon and just bought every piece of Dexter I could get my hands on, is this killer who is quickly making his name, his presence known in Miami and saying to Dexter, I know who you are, I know what you are, let's have some fun. And it's just a very cool storyline that they go through that has a lot of shocks, a lot of twists and turns along the way that I personally did not see coming the first time that I watched it. Maybe that won't be for everybody, maybe some people will figure it out, but as far as the identity of the killer being Brian Moser and this guy that Dexter has been, or that Deb has been dating, kind of coming out of nowhere, I thought was a really cool twist and really just made me wonder even more what his infatuation with Dexter was, then the eventual reveal that that is Dexter's brother, all kind of tied along with this whole discovery that he has towards the back half of the season about where this bloodlust came from and discovering that he was born in blood and saw his mother's murder that he'd kind of blocked out. A lot of discoveries made along the way in the back half of the season that are just very huge moments for the character, huge moments for the show, and they just work really well with the way that they decided to slowly peel back that onion and slowly reveal it, all leading up to the final confrontation to where Dexter chooses Deb over his blood brother and has to, his first huge victim, his first, big bad taken on the show is the one person that could probably give him the most satisfaction as far as knowing who he is, why he is, and actually treating him like a human being for all of his flaws. It's a very emotional place to end the season. Something else that's really cool about season 1 in particular, and I am rewatching these along the way, so maybe other seasons do this really well too that I'm just not remembering as well right now, but specifically season 1 does a really good job at having these like monster of the week episodes to where Dexter comes across a crime scene, figures out who it is very quickly, and then throughout that episode, along with all of the season-long arcs kind of taking place in that episode, he goes after that person, learns about them, eventually takes them out, and always learns something along the way that helps him with whatever he's struggling with at the moment. Like you have this guy who is this therapist who he knows has been psychologically manipulating women into, getting hooked on drugs, antidepressants, then taking them off of them, and then letting them just kill themselves. And that's kind of his way of getting his victims out. He goes to this psychiatrist, knows what he is, knows who he is, but kind of gets addicted to the sessions and starts to learn more about himself. And that's the kind of the first thing that pops open the bottle as far as his past and these little images that he's getting suddenly about his mother being murdered. There's really cool elements of that throughout this first season to where this monster of the week is a really cool isolated story as far as a person that needs to be taken out by Dexter, but also as somebody that teaches him something, makes him grow as a character, and makes us learn more about Dexter through this monster of the week.
I'm a serial killer. Oh, God. Oh, that feels so amazing to say out loud.
As far as negatives, flaws with season 1, honestly, there's not too much for me personally. I have a lot of love for this season, being the fact that it just introduced me to one of my favorite shows of all time, and I still enjoy every single time I go back to rewatch it. In comparison to how great the show gets later on, season 1 by comparison can look like it's a little bit of a lesser season, but I don't really try to blame past seasons for the greatness of future seasons. It's just a good isolated story about Dexter versus this ice truck killer and all of his past coming to fruition. For some people, it might be a little bit exposition heavy because season 1 is very much about Dexter's past. It's about flashbacks of him learning who he is, his stepfather, or his foster father teaching him who he is, teaching him how to survive. The main storyline with him and the ice truck killer is about his past. It's about uncovering his past, uncovering the murder of his mother, uncovering the identity and the fact that he even had a brother. It's all about backstory. It's all about exposition. For some people, it might be a little bit too heavy for that in season 1, and they like just having some of the more present-centric stories that go on from season 2 forward. But for me personally, as a Dexter fan, there's not really a whole lot negative I have to say about season 1, other than the fact that it might not be as good as the show gets in later seasons. So overall, guys, season 1 of Dexter is a hell of a kickoff to a hell of a show that I wish had a little bit more quality control along the way, but there's still way more good than there is bad along the rest of the trip. So still very excited to talk about the rest of the seasons and get into all of the nitty gritty with Mother Mayhem on what I don't like about the show and what she constantly defends about the show. So definitely remember to check out her videos down below. But if you're a fan of serial killer stories, if this sounds intriguing to you and you have not already been sold, I'll say this, because this is what I always told anybody that I tried to sell Dexter on. Watch the first episode on Netflix. If you are not immediately hooked by the time the credits roll of the first episode, probably not the show for you. So if you like serial killer stories, character studies, or just really dark, bloody, entertaining TV, definitely check out Dexter. Season 1 is a hell of a kickoff, and once you check it out on Netflix, add it to your collection, go out and buy it. So what do you guys think of season 1 of Dexter? Are you a fan of this show? Did season 1 hook you as bad as it hooked me? Or did it take a couple of seasons to really hook you and sink you into the story of Dexter Morgan and Miami Metro? Let me know down below. What season are you most looking forward to me and Mother Mayhem talking about? Let me know that down below as well, and we will talk about it. Please like and share this video. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. I have a lot of awesome horror content and a lot of other genres on here that you will enjoy. I got a whole series of Breaking Bad reviews if you like that show. Please check that out. Very proud of it. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. And remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean that you have to be.